Lowell School Committee Budget Hearing Meeting come to order April 8th, 2026, 5 p.m. in the City Council Chambers. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Here.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. Conway?
Yeah.
Mr. Rossi?
Here.
Mayor Getchia?
Here.
Mr. Lay? 3 absent, 4 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. 3, unfinished business. 3.1, public budget hearings. We're going to open the meeting for anyone wishing to speak on the budget.
We have registered speakers, too.
We do have registered speakers. We'll go with them first.
Jake Plouffe. Please state your name and remember you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Jake Plouffe. I'm currently in my 3rd year working as a school counselor at the Lowell High School Freshman Academy, also known as the FA. As you know, the current budget proposes to eliminate one of the FA counselor positions. I want to provide the committee with some information about the impact this will have. Reducing the number of school counselors at the FA from 3 to 2 will increase caseloads from approximately 250 to over 400. School counselors at the FA manage the schedules of every one of our students. Cutting a position and thereby drastically increasing our caseload numbers will negatively impact our capacity to ensure that every student has a full and adequate schedule. School counselors at the FA case manage 504 plans. Increasing the caseloads of FA counselors will significantly increase the responsibilities of each counselor, including how many 504 plans they will have to case manage. If Section 504 requirements are not adequately fulfilled, the school district, counselors' case managing plans, and even teachers are liable. Cutting an FA counselor position directly cuts our capacity to fulfill these requirements. In the proposed budget, there's a message from our superintendent saying that we have prioritized equity and have upheld compliance with all mandated services. For this to be true, we should not be making cuts to the school's capacity to case manage 504 plans, just as we are not making cuts to the school's capacity to case manage IEPs. School counselors at the FA also attend IEP meetings, teacher-assisted team meetings, and are responsible for hosting school-based attendance team meetings to address student attendance concerns with families. Reducing the number of counselors from 3 to 2 will cause a significant reduction in our capacity to engage in this work and will have a negative impact on student attendance and achievement. The amount of face-to-face work we are able to engage in with students will drastically decrease if an FA counselor position is cut. We already have so many administrative, clerical tasks. These cuts will ensure that FA counselors are able to do very minimal counseling, if any at all. School counselors at Lowell High School meet with every single one of our students to discuss their course selections for the next school year. We typically have around a month and a half to complete this essential task. With caseloads of above 400, this will not be possible. Our enrollment counselor position is also slated to be cut. This adds even more to our plates. To cut a freshman academy counselor position or any counselor position is to directly cut student achievement, attendance, and equitable access to the curriculum. In the last school committee meeting, we heard that hundreds of positions were created after the introduction of ESSER funds. I'm curious to hear more about those positions, especially non-student facing positions. I can tell you that 3 freshman academy school counselor positions existed far before all of them and have proven to be foundational to this school's ability to function. I would like to ask the school committee, is it more important to protect those who make our administrators' jobs just a little bit easier, or is it more important to protect those positions that directly serve our students and are foundational to our school's ability to function? Thank you.
Alejandro Balilla.
Good evening to the superintendent, to the members of the school committee. I'm here this evening as a UMass Lowell student pursuing, almost completing my bachelor's degree in music ed. And I'm speaking out of concern for some of the cuts that are being made in this year's budget. More specifically, some of the music teacher cuts being done at the middle school level, as well as the cut of the academic officer, the fine arts director. And from the perspective of the university, this is a conversation that we've been having a lot because we depend a lot on Lowell, its schools, and the diversity of teachers that we have access to. From the undergraduate perspective, our program has students entering classrooms to manage as early as the second semester of freshman year. And that is something that can be done because we have the trust of teachers who were themselves alumni of the music education program at Lowell. It was very instrumental to me in these past 4 years of doing this degree, and it's instrumental for my colleagues and for the other peers in this program that they have access to a wide range of different teaching environments, and every music teacher has something different to bring to the table. The directorship cut concerns me most because as music educators, our practice is entirely dependent on the context of where our students come from and where they're headed. And Lowell High has done some great strides with its music program, having created a robust pathway out of it, but a lot of it is moving mountains on their part. For example, beginner band in the 9th grade is very unusual for any district. A lot of colleagues come into this program surprised that Lowell High School has a high school band director that's teaching some students their first notes on an instrument in the 9th grade. And so that kind of begs the question of what do we need in order to service our students early on to give them a rigorous music education in the lower grades so that they can then come to high school and pursue these paths with yet even more rigor and with a higher degree of musicianship. And I think that to have a director who can oversee that, who can continue to undergo that process is super, super important. You've definitely heard from some of the current students right now, or you will hear from them, their experiences doing arts at the high school. And to a large degree, their citizenship is also benefited from participating. I'm working at the Wang right now in my pre-practicum. They're setting up to do a performance at Taffeta out in the community. So they're immediately seeing the ramifications that they get from having the experience of a structured music education. They're bringing it into the real world. They're making meaningful experiences that benefit our community. And so I humbly ask and please encourage you to reconsider cutting the fine arts director position, because it is a position that is not only for the high school, it's for all levels, and it helps preserve the elements that are in place that help us as educators in training to succeed and to continue to be excellent in our programs and beyond. Thank you.
Jessica Ahern.
Good evening, Mayor, Superintendent, and members of the school committee. My name is Jess O'Hearn. I'm at 63 Varnum Ave in Lowell. I am a Lowell resident. I'm a parent of children in the Lowell Public Schools, and I'm the director of Mosaic Lowell, which is the arts, culture, and creative economy initiative for the city of Lowell. I also hold over 20 years of experience in arts education and creative economy work. I'm here this evening to speak in opposition to the proposed elimination of the Chair of Fine Arts for the district. We've heard powerful testimony from educators and students about the importance of arts education, and we know through decades of research that the arts support academic achievement, student engagement, and social emotional development. But beyond the studies, I want to speak to the alignment with the city's goals. The city of Lowell rightfully takes pride in its vibrant arts and culture sector. It is a defining part of our identity, our economy, and our community. Through Mosaic Lowell's upcoming Creative Economy Report, we are working to quantify that impact, demonstrating that arts and culture are not just an amenity, but a meaningful economic driver, supporting jobs, businesses, and revenue across the city. But we cannot sustain a strong arts and culture sector without a strong foundation in arts education. And we cannot claim to value creativity, innovation, and cultural identity as a city while reducing the very systems that nurture those qualities in our young people. The proposed elimination of the Chair in Fine Arts, especially following last year's $200,000 reduction to arts programming, sends a concerning message to students, families, and educators. It suggests that the arts are not a priority within Lowell Public Schools. The role is not administrative excess, it is essential leadership. The Chair of Fine Arts is the one position in the district that understands the full scope and needs of arts education across disciplines: visual art, music, theater, and performance. It is the role that advocates for educators, ensures program quality, and helps maintain consistency across the schools. Removing this position does not simply reduce staffing, it weakens the structure that supports arts education district-wide. If our goal is to be a competitive, forward-thinking school district, one that prepares students for a diverse and creative economy, then we must continue to invest in the arts, not step away from them. Lowell's motto tells us that art is the handmaid of human good. That value should be reflected not only in our festivals and cultural programming, but in our classrooms. I urge you to reconsider this proposed cut and to continue supporting strong leadership in arts education for Lowell Public Schools. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to speak on the same kind of thing that I talked about last time here. The additional money that comes from the state directed is supposed to go right to the school system. I found out a number of cities and towns in the state, if the city gets a check for Chapter 70, they give it to the school department to use as they want to use it. We're looking at $34 million in the last 2 years being taken in Chapter 70 money. And we're sitting here looking at a $9 million shortfall. How the hell does that make any sense? Now, I understand the city has a complicated way of doing this. What they put in money into the school district to keep it, I don't know, keep it at least in half decent shape, gets added as a contribution to the school department. But quite frankly, how do you explain over $30 million in the last two, cycles, financial cycles, and we can't come up with $9.5 million to try to keep as many employees as possible? There's got to be something reasonable there. 2 years ago, it was $18.5 million. Came in Chapter 70 money. We kind of look at that as a gift, or at least you would hope it would be. It'd help you, and that's done by a complicated rationale that DESE looks at when they're financing schools. They take into consideration the complexity of the kids, the needs of the city, as far as needs of the school department in the city, and with that they come up with a number. So they came up with $18.5 million more last year. $3.5 million had to go to the charter schools for increased tuition reimbursement. That's another issue, but we'll fight that one later. The other situation is this year alone, it was $14,375,000. The $375,000 will go into the charter schools for whatever reason. That's a lot of money in a 2-year cycle for us to not be able to make ends meet and to have to ultimately gut our school system with some of the best, most talented people going out in other communities around Lowell. It's wrong. It's just plain not wrong. Now, I've talked to virtually every politician, anybody that ran for school committee in the city of Lowell for the last 34 years. So many times they say we have to relook at the arrangement with the city with the maintenance of effort provisions. And nobody's ever looked at it in the 34 years I've been president. A lot of lip service about it, but even some people that have run before, they have an opinion about it, but they seem to forget what their opinion was then as compared to what it is now. There needs to be some clarity, because I don't understand why they're taking the lion's share of the money that's supposed to come to the schools. And in most other school systems, or at least a large number of them, it's a pass-through process. The city gets the check, they give it to the school department because it's intended to be used by the school department. Here it's used for everything and anything that ends up creating a shortfall. Thank you.
Chris Romero.
Hello, sorry. Hello, Mayor and the members of the school committee. My name is Chris Romero. I am a current student at the Tutoring Center at STEM Academy. Just yesterday, I read the proposed cuts for the Lowell Public Schools, and that is very concerning to me. I am autistic. Some of you probably didn't know that. I believe that these students have a great future ahead of them, and they do not need this happening to them. Just yesterday, I heard that a beloved principal at the Lincoln School is losing his job, due to these cuts. I heard what the staff and students had to say last week, and I agree with them all. I remember after the March 18th school committee meeting, I DM'd Sherry Barboza, but what she wrote stood out to me. She said that we need more teachers and support teachers. As a former Bailey School student, decreasing 1 mainstream paraprofessional, 1 ELL professional, and 4.7 tutors is insane. Thank you. Thank you. Oh man. Thank you. My brother's school, who goes to the 80-day school, is not seeing any decreases according to the screenshot in an email, social media posts I saw on the rest of the school are being cut. And why is that? Well, I am asking this committee and you, superintendent, to please reconsider this decision. Students deserve better. The teachers deserve better. You don't even know how this will affect the community. Mic drop. I stand with the staff and students. Thank you.
Winston Kai.
Hello, my name is Winston G. I am a junior at Lowell High School. Recently, our Lowell High School Theater Department competed in Drama Fest for the first time in over 20 years. This is a competition where over 100 high schools compete, and this competition, we wouldn't have been able to go compete if it weren't for Mrs. DeViso's amazing support. Her support trickles down not just to our amazing teachers, it goes down to us, and she really supports each and every single one of us. And that really brings me to an important point I'd like to make. I went to last week's meeting, and I was very curious about the school site councils and all the budgetary things at the Lowell High School. And I saw that the minutes weren't available, and I don't believe I saw the agenda. And that does make me concerned about somewhat of a lack of transparency, and I think that we students aren't allowed to see or aren't privy to. And these budget cuts not only affect staff, they really affect us, the students. And I think that's very important to consider. Because of course, budgetary cuts have to happen, hard choices have to be made, but in the end, it really affects us, the students, and it really kind of gets rid of the amazing experiences we have, and that's kind of the main reason why I chose to go to Lowell High School instead of GL Tech, because I saw the amazing elective and opportunities that we had here at Lowell High School. And I'd like to remind the school committee, like, you can look at the carpet in front of you, it says the Lowell motto, art is the handmaid of human good, and in this chamber itself, we're surrounded by art. So please, 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 like, don't forget how our city's motto is literally about art, and we're considering removing a person who not only supported teachers, supported us, and not just high schoolers, elementary schoolers and middle schoolers. So please, 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 before you make any decision, look at the motto that's on the floor in front of you and on the dais above the mayor. Thank you very much.
Darcy Boyer.
Good evening. My name is Darcy Boyer. I live at 235 Avon Street. I'm a parent of a sophomore at Lowell High School and a member of Lowell Education Justice Alliance. Tonight, I'd like to address some of the issues raised at last week's meeting, particularly around allied arts funding. It was suggested that the proposed cuts seemed to be primarily a concern at the high school level based on who showed up to speak. But that's just not true. The reality is that our middle schools have been operating at the bare minimum for years. There is very little left to cut, and yet cuts were still made. Even before this proposed budget, LEGA had identified serious gaps in access to the allied arts across the district. Those inequities already existed. These cuts only deepen them. So let's look at a few examples. At the Stocklosa Middle School, there's one music teacher for 600 students. At the Wang, there are currently 2, but this budget reduces that to 1 teacher for over 650 students. Meanwhile, the Pine Arts has 2 music teachers for 470 students. The staffing, combined with flexible scheduling made possible by a supportive principal, allows the Pine to offer band and other music programs that we don't see across the district. The result is clear. Some students enter high school having never had the chance to learn an instrument, while others arrive with years of experience. This is not acceptable. It should not matter which school a student attends. Every child deserves access to a robust arts and music education. So how did we get here? Part of the answer may lie in the fair funding model discussed at last week's meeting. There are real benefits to giving schools autonomy over their budgets, but in practice it can lead to vastly different student experiences across the district. In theory, school site councils provide a space for shared decision-making. In reality, power dynamics can make that difficult. When administrators ultimately hold decision-making authority, their priorities can prevail. We even heard last week that an alternative proposal from the Lowell High School Site Council was dismissed. That raises concerns about whether this process is truly collaborative or merely performative. I want to be clear. I understand this is not easy. We do not have enough funding. We must continue to advocate at the city and the state level, and we do, and we will. But we cannot ignore the fact that this is also about priorities. Our allied arts programs have been chronically underfunded, and budgets are moral documents. They reflect what we value. Our students deserve more than basics. They deserve beauty, they deserve music, they deserve art. In 1912, striking mill workers in Lawrence demanded not only survival, but dignity. Their rallying cry was, "We want bread, but roses too." Our students deserve both. We must fight for the fundamentals, but also the joy, creativity, and humanity that make education whole, and our budget should reflect that. Thank you.
Rachel Legary.
Good evening, Mayor, Superintendent, and mayors of the school board, and members of the school board. My name is Rachel Legary, and I am a senior at Lowell High School. I'm a high-achieving honor roll student and the president of Sound Impressions, our show choir at Lowell High, and I am a Bright alum. I can honestly say that these two programs are the only reason why I will be walking the stage with my fellow graduates in June. Excuse me. This past summer, I experienced one of the lowest points of my life. I was so busy trying to survive, and Bright was the light at the end of my tunnel. Most people don't understand how overwhelming a school day can be to a struggling student. Bright's gradual integration and supportive staff gave me hope that I could be as successful as my peers. Without Miss Alba, I wouldn't have been taught coping skills that I use every day. Without Miss Charbonneau, I would have drowned in the mountain of work I missed while I was on medical leave. Without Miss Sabika, I wouldn't have looked forward to walking into school so we could have one of our deep conversations. It doesn't make sense to eliminate a program that gives otherwise hopeless students a second chance at high school. Once I completed Bright, I was able to throw myself into the passion I have for school, my passion for art and music more specifically. This is my 4th year in show choir and my 4th year of taking visual arts classes. Throughout my time in the fine arts, I've always been able to rely on the department head, Mrs. DeViso, like so many members across the district. Her position is essential for programs like show choir, band, and every other art class. Unlike every other department head at Lowell High, Mrs. DeViso oversees every public elementary school and middle school in addition to the high school. A team cannot play without their captain. How would they get their gear, their coaching, their resources? Who would spearhead their games if not a coach, fit and trained for the job? That is Ms. DeViso for us. I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm asking for an even balance of decreases throughout all the departments. Fine arts and student support services are the only reason I'm here today. Please don't take away the opportunity for greatness away from future students just like me. Thank you.
That's it.
So if there's anyone else wishing to speak on the budget, come to the mic and you can state your name and address for the record, and we'll give you the opportunity to speak. Seeing no one else, we're going to close that portion.
Good afternoon. My name is Sagrario Guerrero. I am the mother with 2 students with a special need.
Could you state your address too, please?
Yes, 74 Grand Street, Lowell, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
I'm here for make something different with our community because I think we deserve better service for our students in the district of Lowell. I want to make the point with the issues we have right now in the regular transportation. We have a lot of accenting for the students because the transportation system, they running late or something happened. The student, they don't have like good representation for these kind of issues. And otherwise, this is make something a struggle for a lot of family with Spanish community. They don't understand how the system works, so they lose a lot of good information for these kind of bigger issues. And also, when the student running late to the school, they lose the services at the school. So this is very important observation for me. And I want to make this kind of message in Spanish because we have a lot of people that speak Spanish in Lowell. Estimados miembros del Consejo Municipal, mi nombre es Sagrario Guerrero, vivo en Lowell, Massachusetts, y quiero expresar mi profunda preocupación con respecto a la forma que se están asignando los fondos en ciertas áreas críticas que afectan a los estudiantes vulnerables. Deseo llamar su atención sobre los siguientes puntos críticos que requieren atención inmediata dentro del presupuesto. Deficiencias en el transporte escolar. Existe una grave falta de coordinación con el proveedor de transporte, lo que resulta ausencias injustificadas, informes de ausencias erróneas y retrasos recurrentes a las llegadas de los estudiantes a su debido destino. Esto solo afecta a estudiantes de educación especial, sino también desestabiliza la lógica familiar y la falta de implementación de servicios y crea represalias. Muchas veces las familias luchan por asegurar la implementación de sus servicios y lo que reciben es las represalias por el distrito por defender que sus hijos tengan una educación de calidad. El presupuesto de la ciudad debe reflejarse una prioridad genuina para proteger a estos estudiantes y garantizar que las familias puedan abogar por sus derechos sin sentirse discriminados o retaliados. Los proveedores de transporte deben asegurar que los servicios educativos se presten sin interrupciones. Agradezco los comentarios incluidos y es un placer. Mi nombre es Sagrario Guerrero. Gracias.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Please come to the mic and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Amanda Satterfield. I live at 15 Hawthorne Street in Lowell. I'm also an alumni of Lowell High School. I spoke at last week's school committee meeting as well. I'm currently the K-8 music teacher at the Bartlett School, where I've been for the last 3 years. And I also work after school at Lowell High School. I've been working there after school for 3 years as well. And I interviewed and have been accepted in February into the instrumental music teacher position that is proposed to be cut at Lowell High School. I just wanted to say a lot has been said about the fine arts director position that's being cut, but not a lot has been mentioned about this particular position that is also on the chopping block. And there are only 3 music teachers at Lowell High School for 3,788 students in this current school year. Reducing 3 teachers to 2 would cut the department by 33%. There are 719 students currently signed up for courses next year, and that is without any of the 8th grade enrollment. There were only 500 students who were enrolled this current school year, and that is almost a 1.5 increase from last year. To cut 1 music teacher would mean that we would not be able to have courses for all the students that are interested. Actually, we have enough students enrolled for not 3 music teachers at the high school, but 4. So I just want to keep in mind for everybody that that is also a position on the chopping block. And there are similar districts to Lowell that have many more teachers for many less students, even in Lowell. I'm one teacher for 500 students at the Bartlett currently, but there are 3 teachers at the STEM, 3 music teachers, and there are 2 teachers at the Pine. To have only 2 teachers at Lowell High School for significantly more students would be the reason that many students would not attend Lowell High School, but instead choose the Voc. I actually have brought one of my students along. They're in the balcony. She chose to go to Lowell High School specifically for the music program. And so to lose that selection, it would be sad. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the budget? Come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Peyton Gaspar. I reside at 116 Congress Street. I am a senior at Lowell High School. I do theater and I do dance, and I've been around fine arts my whole entire life. I actually had something written, but I didn't bring it with me. But I ask for you guys to reconsider the cutting Ms. DeViso's position at the high school. Fine arts is such a important aspect of a children's life. I want to go into education, but because of that, I've also dove into the fine arts. I started dance when I was younger, and I chose Lowell High School because we offered dance. The reason we have dance is because Ms. DeViso's position, being able to fight for us to perform at Lowell Memorial when we didn't have our Irish auditorium, which meant a lot to all of us dance students, especially us seniors who were terrified of not having our show. Our theater, like Winston had said, we were able to compete at Drama Fest for the first time in 20 years, which honestly is crazy that we weren't able to do that. I just want, me coming up here is almost, fine arts has been around me my whole entire life, and I want to thank Ms. DeViso for being able to support such a important field of art, especially in such a diverse community as like Lowell. I chose Lowell High School for the opportunities. I know all my friends chose Lowell High School for the opportunities, and I would like future generations to have those same opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the budget? Come up to the mic and just state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Nila Rivera. I live at 23 Ellsworth Street here in Lowell. I am a current Middlesex Community College student, and I am currently studying education. While it is not music education, I still think that music and arts are important in our schools. However, that's not what I'm going to talk about tonight. Tonight I'm going to talk about how the admin positions are created to assist house masters in conducting evaluations of teachers, but recently the U2L won a grievance, and it was ruled that the house masters cannot conduct these evaluations. So how can the school district justify cutting student-facing positions while the $700,000 is spent on admins whose position now lacks its original justification? Additionally, several administrative positions have been created, such as testing coordinator, discipline and operations specialist, and student support coordinator, who seem to do much of the work that is normally done by an assistant principal. I would just ask that we all look at the positions added over the last several years and not just student-facing positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the budget? Anyone wishing to speak on the budget? The budget. We're going to close that portion of the public hearing, and we're going to open it up to the public speaking portion that the committee has to deal with. So we need a motion to vote for the action of necessity because the school committee will be voting on their own bottom line figure by school committee member Conway, seconded by school committee member Del Rossi. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Gitchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay? Mr. Lay? 5 yeas, 2 absent.
Thank you. Page 12, school committee, total amount for appropriate approval, $1,678,441. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $1,678,441. Seconded by, motion by Committee Member Bahu, seconded by Committee Member McFadden. Roll call.
He's answering me through here.
Oh.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Six yeas.
Mr. Superintendent, would you like to recognize Mr. Fiato?
I would like to recognize Lowell High School Head of School, Mr. Fiato, and invite him to the podium so he can take your questions. Also, Mr. Fiato, if you care to make a statement before we start, that would be welcome.
Thank you for your time today and allow me to present what I think is a fair and revised budget recommendation that I'd like the school committee to take into consideration after taking in feedback from the community. The proposal represents a strategic realignment, one that addresses fiscal constraints while remaining uncompromising on safety, academic equity, and the well-being of students. The version reflects listening and incorporating feedback from stakeholders, school site council, and campus staff and community. And this represents a shift from the previous budget workbook that you heard at the last school committee meeting. To ensure that students are supported at every stage of the high school journey, I'm recommending restoring the freshman academy counselor and the college and career counselor. We cannot achieve equity without addressing counselor to student ratios and ensuring the youngest students transition successfully at the 9th grade and our upperclassmen prepared for their futures. I'm also recommending reinstating or reconsidering the fine arts department chair and adding back a music teacher into the budget. I'd like to make sure we protect the elective programs that drive student interest and, as many students said, was a driving factor in having them come to select Lowell High School. This budget process is painful and does require reduction, so I'd be suggesting reductions in certain areas, such as clerical, student support specialists, and through attrition, retirements, and conclusion of long-term substitute assignments, some teachers as well. As we know, budgeting is an exercise of values. While these cuts are painful and difficult for everyone, they allow us to do our best to protect the heart of the school with this particular plan. The faculty, counselors, and specialists who work directly with the children every day. This balanced approach ensures fiscal responsibility without sacrificing a lot of the support and academic success that we've been made over the past few years. So I respectfully ask for your support in these I ask for your support of these recommendations to the school committee.
Thank you, Mr. Fiato. Any questions for Mr. Fiato, Alicia? Ms. McFadden?
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for making some amendments to the budget. I have one concern, and it's about the enrollment counselor. I was told that she enrolled over 450 students this year so far, and that's not including freshmen. So if that position gets eliminated for a student support service position within a house, what happens to all those students and families? Because we want them to have a great experience when they're entering the high school. It can be a really difficult, anxiety-driven time for families and students when they're entering this huge school and it's new for them. So could you give us a little insight on that,
Sure.
please?
The enrollment council position was added last year. It's a new position and a needed position. It was added for a reason because we have large number of students entering in throughout the entire year. What we would do to address any gaps would be what we did in the past, and I would lean on and ask the person who's currently in the role, reserve some money for stipends for that person to do that job as they have done in the past. It would be more of a part-time and an extra duty position. If the person in the role who knows how to do the job created systems already and have great systems already in place to be able to maintain and continue that work while taking on other responsibilities.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Member Del Rossi?
Just a point of clarification. Did you say you'd reinstate an enrollment counselor, or guidance counselor, academic chair, and music teacher?
Not enrollment counselor, college and career counselor,
College.
and a freshman academy counselor, and an academic chair, and a music teacher.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Member Del Rossi. Member Conway?
Yeah, thank you. Do we have clerk schedulers? Are they, any of them slated to be cut?
Yes,
How many?
5.
5 of them? So who's going to do the scheduling?
Well, guidance counselors would be responsible for the scheduling as they always are. And we would look at other administrators or support staff to assist with the roles of the clerk schedulers. But clerk schedule is a very important part of the office, and it's not an easy cut.
Correct.
But looking at student-facing positions and providing opportunities for reinstatement of counselor, college career, fine arts, they're not easy cuts, and we will have to work collectively with
So
our
there's
guidance
5 in
counselor.
total?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that we could perhaps talk about cutting, let's say, 2 or 3 of them and keeping 2 or 3?
I'm proposing recommendations, and as I did last time and this time, and coming back to you today, always willing to go back either to the school site council through you and superintendent and make additional recommendations.
I'm hitting you with a question right now, and instead of cutting these at this particular time, I'd like to maybe put those in a suspense account, and we can get a little bit more information to
course.
see if it can work out where maybe that we could get by with, cutting perhaps 2 instead of the 5. I don't know if that makes much sense, but I'd like to put those in suspense account.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Well, you have to wait for a second. I have a motion on
What's the motion again? I'm sorry.
to put the clerk schedulers in
Can I explain, please?
in a suspense account.
So there's a motion to put the clerk's expense into the expense account. Is there a second?
Through the superintendent and the mayor.
He has the right to get a second on a motion. He's proposed the motion, so
Mr. Mayor.
once he gets a second, we can discuss the motion and then vote. But he has the right to get a second to his motion, so who seconded that, Dominic?
Yes, I second, Mr. Mayor.
So there's a second on that. Now we can speak on the motion before us.
I think it's
Superintendent.
worthy of being clarified. I want to work with Mr. Conway to achieve what you're trying to achieve. I think it's a mistake to think we can put it in suspense. If there's an item in the budget book, and the school committee chooses not to spend money on that item, you can take the money and put it in suspense and we can't spend it. If you're talking about a position that's being cut, the money isn't in the budget, so there's nothing to put in suspense. So in other words, I think we should consider what you want to do, Mr. Conway.
Could we get a clarification on that? Could I put those in a suspense account, those positions?
If they're not in the budget, you can't, Mr. Conway.
I'm asking the chair.
I don't believe you can add to a budget that's proposed. You can only cut. Even putting it to a suspense account is adding to it. So I don't think you can add anything to it. You can make a suggestion, but adding to the budget is not the purview of our body. So you can certainly say to the superintendent that's what you'd like to see.
I'm not adding to it. All I want to do is put it in the account so that we get a little bit more information, and instead of cutting 5, that perhaps we can get by.
What I'm saying to you is you can't add anything, even if it's suspense, to hold monies in any account because you're adding to a budget.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Dominic,
I think Mr. Conway wanted to do is to put it in the what's called abeyance. That's what we did the last time we talked about the positions that we want to discuss further. We're not cutting it, we just put it aside. Is that the right term, abeyance?
In order to do that, we would need a revised budget sheet to do that, so we can just push off that portion of the budget and come back to it at a later public hearing. But you got to give the public the right to speak on it. So even though you put it in advance, the public has to have it 48 hours in advance to see it.
And we
then
could have
be-
that information, let's say, for the next meeting then.
Yeah.
How's that? Okay.
Member Del Rossi.
I just am looking where the personnel decreases are for the high school, and I don't see the 5 clerk schedulers on here. Are they listed as different things?
So, Mr. Rossi, Mr. Fiato has been working with the staff and school site council since last week's meeting. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Fiato was still consulting with the school site council today, and so as he spoke, he was giving you the latest information that was not ready in time for the agenda. But what he has described, we will present to you in written form for next week. We can also take Mr. Conway's suggestion and have the high school consider that as well, and provide you with the response to that one next week as well.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Conway.
you know, this is information that we just got, as the superintendent has mentioned. So in other words, instead of,
I'm listening to you.
okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were doing something else up there. I think instead of making a jump decision one way or another here, we're just getting this information hot off the press here. So, you know, I think that's why I think we need to get more information so that we can take a look at that at the next meeting, period.
I agree, and that's what I was just talking to Dr. Pinto about, is that if there are portions of this outlined budget that has changes within it, we'd have to skip them tonight and then come back and revisit them. But we can get to the portions that don't have any changes within them and vote on those tonight. So they're like, when, I think, if we're looking at the right ones, we're looking at instructional leadership, there's going to be a change somewhere in that. So we'd have to advertise that, show the changes, and then come back and do that. Teaching staff, if I hear what Mr. Fiato is bringing forward, there might be some changes, adjustments to that. So if there's an adjustment to that, the public has to be made aware of that prior to, so that we can actually do that. So those are 2 we can skip. And then the guidance counselors and testing, we'd have to look at those 2 and then come back once we have the changes in our presence. You can cut, but you can't add to and move around without the public knowing in advance, if that makes any sense. Mr. Conway.
Right, I don't want to make decisions on something that is just.
Yeah, and that's what we were just writing down, is these changes came in late and the public hasn't had an opportunity to review it. So something may be cut that they want to speak on to add the position back.
Correct.
So they should have the right to see that in advance rather than just say, we're cutting something and going to add what you want back. Because you could be taking something that needs to be spoken on.
Right.
So, Member Bahu.
Sure, so thank you for that clarification, because this is the first I've heard about the 5 positions being cut for the clerical, and realistically, for the new recommendation by the headmaster of the college and career, the freshman academy guidance, the art teacher, and the music teacher. So it would have been nice to have any of that information. I'm not sure when this came about, but we're sort of walking into this blindly. And, you know, we're looking at a $272 million budget, and we're seeing positions get put back in that we know nothing about, and then basically cutting other positions that we know nothing about. So we're coming here truthfully on the blind, and that, to me, is just not good business.
I think in fairness, Mr. Bahu, the other day we had people speak, people listened, they went to change things, but this was already an advertised meeting. And there are certainly sections of this that we can do tonight, because I don't know if any of you expected to get through all of this tonight. I certainly didn't. So if we get through what we can get through, and then we have adjustments for the next meeting, I think there's plenty of time to advertise those adjustments.
It would be great to see those adjustments, so
Yeah,
thank you.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I agree. Superintendent Skinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are determined to present the school committee with all the information you need to make decisions. In a sense, Mr. Fiato is here tonight and has responded over the course of the week with input from his school site council on alternative cuts that could be made given the feedback that we received. And to some extent, for anyone who spoke the last night and tonight, Mr. Fiato was delivering good news, that the feedback was received. But I think we have to realize this is a lesson going forward for the whole entire budget. If the school committee chooses not to accept certain reductions, we have to find the reductions elsewhere. So, and if I may give a couple more comments for context for everybody. In our schools, I don't think people will believe this, our schools are receiving more money, in many cases considerably more money next fiscal year than they've had this fiscal year. In most of our schools, we're talking about, 100 or more, a couple of hundred or more thousands of dollars. In the case of the high school budget for next year is going to be up well over $1 million. So we're not talking about a budget that's been slashed. There's additional funding. For the district as a whole, we have more than $14 million more to spend next year than we've had this current year. But we're not keeping up with expenses. And we simply cannot keep up with the positions that were added with ESSER dollars. We've made it work in the past 2 years, mostly by cutting at central office and with no cuts to schools. We just can't make that work. And if a suggestion about budget cuts that's been made is not acceptable for our community or our school committee, we need to consider that as part of the process and make a better decision. But we have to cut, though. We don't have the funds, and we have to be responsible about that. We can only spend the funds that we've got. No matter how we spin it, it's going to involve position cuts. So the high school has responded to a lot of feedback in the last week. Mr. Fiato came with what essentially was really good news for the community tonight. But now we have a new glitch because additional cuts to make up for the funding that's being added will cause another examination and so on. We will go through that process, but we're providing the committee and are determined to provide the committee with all the information we had. The information that Mr. Fiato delivered was hot off the press, and it's good news that the community wanted to hear, and we asked for Mr. Fiato to be here to present it. Thank you.
Mr.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Want to go to Dominic first?
sure.
Mr. Lay?
I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. I hope, I just want to say that I hope Superintendent's optimistic forecast about next year's budget is correct. If that's the case, we're going to have a good year next year. But put that aside, I just want to say that is Mr. Fiato still there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, good. Last meeting, a school committee person asked for a list of positions that are being added and the positions that are being decreased. And for the high school, we saw a lot of positions that are being eliminated. But at the same time, when I look at the budget book, I saw that the positions not on that list was the world language. World language, according to what I see on the budget book, has 2 positions being reduced. So I just wonder if that is the case, and if it is true, then what languages are we reducing? To you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Fiato.
Mr. Superintendent?
Mr. Fiato, please.
Sure. Based on student enrollment trends and based on the number of course requests, we're recommending attrition or reduction of 2 world language teachers at this time, with the intent to continue to look at our course requests over the next year and balance out our overall sections of classes that are offered. Right now, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've been working on rectifying an imbalance of classes where some classes are oversubscribed and some classes are well undersubscribed. And it's important to look across the entire spectrum of all of the courses we offer to balance those courses so that teachers have equitable course loads and students have classes that are not overpopulated but also under-enrolled so that we can maximize. To the question around what languages, we have a diverse range of teachers that offer various languages. Some are multilingual and some are dual certified. So we're reviewing that right now. I want to be giving you the correct information, but we would retain all of the languages. So no languages would be eliminated, but particular teachers who might offer a language could be eliminated, if that makes sense. So no specific language would be eliminated through this reduction.
Mr. Lay?
I'm just curious why you're not saying which language staff are being eliminated, and also I wonder why they're not listed on the sheet that's sent to us by the superintendent.
Mr. Lay, I believe Mr. Fiato was trying to explain that we won't be losing access to any language. We'll still be able to offer the same number of languages to students. We may not need the same number of teachers because there are some courses that are not subscribed very well.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I heard that, but I just wonder why, if he knew what language teachers are being eliminated, why he's not saying it now.
With respect, Mr. Lay, it's not appropriate for us to identify individual people in a public forum.
I didn't say who, I just wanted to know which language.
May I, Superintendent? There isn't a particular language that's being cut. There are, like I said, there are many teachers who teach multiple languages, and we're going to look at our course requests and balance off the course loads according to the course requests to match up with the teachers who are certified to teach those courses. So there isn't a targeted course that we're eliminating.
Mr. Mayor, I don't accept that answer because it's very vague. But I'm not gonna drill on this. But it's not a very good answer.
Thank you, Committee Member Lay. Committee Members Conway.
Yeah, thank you. I think we all can realize that this is not an easy process. All right, there's a lot of tugging and pulling and whatever, and everyone wants to save the jobs. Everyone wants to do the best we possibly can, and again, it's difficult. Now, excuse me, last meeting we talked about, and you mentioned, Mr. Superintendent, that we're talking about $9 million plus that we have to find somewhere. And I made a suggestion to you. And I said, well, maybe we should take a look at the outside consultants. And I don't mean the ones that are done because of IEPs and transportation and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. And I said, that might be a list that we take a look at. And I'm just curious whether you did take a look at it and what, because in the next school committee meeting, I'll come in with a list on the outside experts, what could be cut. So, I mean, as we've talked about many times, we've got a great staff here, and sometimes in difficult times, we have to kind of step up to the plate and do a little bit extra. And if it means that you can save someone's job by doing that, then heck, why wouldn't we be doing it? So Mr. Superintendent, I would really appreciate for the next meeting that we do have a list of some consultants, outside consultants, that it's great if we have them, but we can do without them in difficult times. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Conway. Seeing no one else, if no one minds if I speak from up here, I just have a couple questions. When you look at this, I want to thank the superintendent for bringing you forward first, because if we don't, we might accept things and then not be able to accept them. So I wonder if we're just doing this tonight for no reason at all, if there's changes within all of it and all these lines are going to change going through, or are we going to outline the ones that are hands-off and we're going to touch them? Because I don't want to get into this, and that's why I spoke to Dr. Pinto in between. I don't want to get into this, change something, then have come back and change it again after it's been accepted, because that just doesn't make any sense. We're just pushing stuff aside. So I just want to make sure we're all in agreement that whatever we go over is hands-off once it goes by, because if we do this, we're going to go over this again and again and again. We'll be here for 4 weeks doing the same thing over and over again. We need to know those changes in advance, if that makes sense.
Mr. Mayor, just want to give you an assurance, and the committee members as well. We won't be voting on or putting forward to the committee tonight something that you've asked to look at and make a decision about in the future. We'll isolate those items when we come to them. We can also, in reference to Mr. Conway's inquiry just now, when we come to line items that involve consultant services, we can either explain them or put them in suspense, and we can, until this committee is satisfied with the dollar amount that's been assigned.
I would agree with you, Mr. Superintendent, but as School Committee Member Lay had said, we don't know what the next cuts are to get to the cut that we just added back. So without knowing that, I don't know where we're going with future cuts or not, and what the outcry is going to be on one end, and what the board's thinking may be a change. That's all I'm saying going forward, that's all. So if we can continue, and if Dr. Pinto or Superintendent Skinner, if you can just jump in and say we want to skip that line as we go, it will make it a lot easier on us, because I'm sure at this point we have a few that we're going to skip, such as the guidance counselor and testing and a few others that are here. So.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Dr. Pinto has isolated those lines as we're speaking, so that when we get to them, if we get to them tonight, we will identify them for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Lay.
Thank you. I just want to state my position that, number one, I say that I think that Lowell, since last year and including this year, our budget is not as good as we wanted, but our budget is pretty good considered comparing to other districts like Pepperell, Dunstable, and Shrewsbury. When I had a chance to go to the school committee meeting last year, they were having a very difficult time because they do not have the type of students that we have in Lowell. Over here in Lowell, we were lucky that we have students like low income and ELL and et cetera, special needs students. Those students was the reason why we have a better Chapter 70 aid than the towns. Therefore, for me, I think that any positions that we want to put into, what the state intend to serve, which is the positions that serve those type of students. So any suggestion to cut those positions, I am not going to be able to support those cuts. So I just want to state my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lay. Mr. Fiato, I thank you for coming out. One of the speakers had addressed some of the concerns with like added student support over the last few years during the ESSER funding piece. And I think she also pointed out other positions and said that, maybe that's something. And I'm sure you looked through all this with a fine-tooth comb, but I just hope that we're not cutting other services while we added services because we had funding, that's all. And I think that those are challenging because when you put people in positions, it's always hard because as the students pointed out and other people pointed out, now you have a personality with something and they do good work. but are they the needed positions overall? So I thank you for coming out, because we did invite all the principals here. You're the only one here, so I don't know how we're going to question all the other schools' budgets, but I thank you for coming out tonight.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Page 13, Superintendent. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $1,312,974 by Member Bahu, seconded by Member Conway. Any discussion? Member Del Rossi?
Sorry. The bottom line, I have 1,212,474 on mine.
Page 13. It should be page 13.
Mr. Mayor, $1,312,974?
That's what was said, yes.
Oh, but that would include all of this. That's what, I thought we were just voting on this.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Where Mr. Conway had just asked to hold off on contracted services, I just thought that maybe we should wait and come back to that, just because if we're going to look at contracted services and so forth, then on.
If I may, please, you're welcome, Mr. Rossi, if we want to put that aside. I don't believe that's the contracted services that Mr. Conway is referring to in sort of like professional development and so on. That line, contracted services, it's a relatively small amount. It covers things like back-to-school costs, rentals for back-to-school. There's a finance bond in there.
All right, never mind. My apologies.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this portion? Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you. Page 14 and 15, Finance and Operations. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $7,305,283. Motion to accept by Member Del Rossi, seconded by Member McFadden. Any questions?
I just have a question about the Director of Technology. Is that position one that's being cut?
That's correct, Mr. Rossi.
Can I just put a motion in to put that into abeyance for now, or suspense, or something to that effect?
You can, yep. Member Del Rossi makes a motion to put the Director of Technology into abeyance, seconded by Member Conway. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
No.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
No.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
4 yeas, 2 nays, 1 absent. Passes.
Roll call on the bottom line then, right? No, because you got something in abeyance, so you can't really do anything, right?
That's why I like suspense, then you can.
We can adjust the bottom line so that you vote on a line tonight, including the other items, and still retain the capacity to act on the Director of Technology position.
Do we have the number that we're going to adjust the finance
Yes.
and operations number by?
Dr. Pinto?
Member Bahu?
Yeah, I have a few questions about some of these line items. The first line item would be line item number 25, as far as clerical staff for central administration. I see that we're looking to add one person for clerical staff. And, you know, we're looking at cutting teachers and people that are face-to-face with the students in the classroom. So I'm curious what the need is for that extra clerical staff that we're looking to hire.
Thank you, Mr. Bahu. It's actually the same number of clerical staff. It's just that there are 3 on a grant, if you notice, this current year, and next year the grant won't cover those. So it's still the same number of clerical staff.
Okay, my mistake. That was an oversight. So let's go to line number 27, clerical and substitutes and overtime. Last year, we had 30,000 in overtime, and this year we're budgeting 100,000 for it. So that's, a $70,000 difference. That would, if you could go ahead and share some information about that, I'd
Sure.
appreciate it.
So there are several lines, and that's one of them, that are based on historical costs. So the costs of clerical overtime year on year for many, many years has been in the region of $100,000. Last year, during the budget cycle, the school committee chose to reduce some lines of this sort in order to restore a position. So if I may, if we restored, for example, the position that's been put in abeyance, we would have to cut some funds from some other line. That happened last year, and so the $30,000 in there does not represent the true cost of the clerical overtime. $100,000 does.
How much have we spent on overtime so far this year? Because I do have last year's budget here in front of me, and it was an even line item. Last year, we allotted $30,300. In the year before, we allotted $30,300. So we're increasing it by $70,000, and then I have the year before's budget right here. So I'll be looking at that in a moment while we...
Dr. Pinto, please.
Thank you, Mr. Bahu. So in this case, we look at a 4-year actual. So we look at the historicals, and historically, we have not funded it correctly. And so this is an attempt to fund it correctly based on the historical numbers.
So are we, Mr. Mayor, so are we overspent it already by this time for this year?
Mr. Superintendent, or Mr. Pinto?
Dr. Pinto, please.
Thank you. We're on track for roughly that amount this year.
So why would we increase 300% for next year if this year we only if we're on track for 30,000?
I'm sorry, Mr. Lay, we're on track for the 100,000. So historically, that's what we've spent in this line, close to that amount. And so that's what we're anticipating for FY27.
So this year we're on track for, we spend over 30,000 and we are close to 100,000. Is that what you said, Mr. Pinto?
That's correct.
Mr. Conway?
So where did we get the money for the last 2 years then?
So in this instance, Mr. Conway, we either have to rely on savings or reduce in other lines in order to make up for the costs that we're short. So at the end of the year, there's a true up. And so on the budget on the whole, there are lines in which we overspend and lines in which we underspend, so over the course of the year. And so at the end of the year, we have to make up for lines where there may be a negative.
Member Bahu?
I understand the 4-year rotation. I understand that that's going to be the average in overtime. However, I have 4 years in budgets here in front of me, and each year has been allotted $30,300 for overtime. There has been no movement in 2023, 2024, 2025, or 2026. So, and I understand, hey, listen, we're using more, having more overtime. But based on the explanation, it just doesn't seem that we've been doing our homework properly. So, I'd just like to share that. So, I'd like personally to reduce that number because I don't feel that number is necessary based on it being 300% more than what we've allotted for the past 4 years that Dr. Pinto just went ahead and discussed.
Mr. Bahu, the comments you're making are entirely reasonable and based on what you're looking at, that's true. If you would like, Mr. Bahu, Dr. Pinto can provide you with the actuals. So there are items in our budget that have not been correctly budgeted in the past, and Dr. Pinto has been rooting them out year on year since he arrived in Lowell. This is one of those items. They've looked back 4 years historical. The average is $100,000. Dr. Pinto can provide you the actuals if you'd like that.
Sure. I mean, we need something on paper rather than just, what should I say? Hocus pocus that we're just going to add money to that just doesn't seem right when we're cutting positions. That doesn't seem right at all. So yes,
Dr.
that'd be
Pinto.
great. Actuals, what's our current spending on overtime this year?
Thank you, Mr. Bahu. I appreciate your sentiment in this regard. I'll furnish some actual numbers. So what we do is we use our enterprise resource system. We use Munis, our financial system, to draw on what was actually spent in the line. I'll ask Deputy Chief Financial Officer DuPont to comment.
Thank you. Currently, this year, we have spent $67,215. For FY25, we spent $144,954, and for FY24, we spent $150,503. In prior years, we did have ESSER to help us offset some of those costs, which is not an opportunity that we have any longer.
That's a good clarification. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Last item, item number 40. We had 2 part-time computer techs in 23 and 24, and I realized that all the kids have workbooks. So we increased it to 4 last year. And I understand the need for it. This year, we're looking to make it 6. We're looking to add 2 there. It looks like they're part-time computer repair techs. Rather than 6, could we start with 5? And if we need a 6th, we go ahead and hire the 6th? Or is this a high recommendation because we don't have enough people to repair our computers?
Yes, Mr. Bahu. So I've touted a number of times that we've made reductions from central office, not adds, but also as the school committee has indicated that you want positions that are less administrative and so on. In the tech department, we have a greater need for technicians to repair and service technology around the district than we do for the director. So Ms. Del Rossi noticed that there's a reduction of a director position. So that was to make a savings from central office and to allow some of the savings to be spent on technicians that are badly needed. So that's the additional positions and how we would pay for them.
So right now, we're looking at cutting a director of technology. If we cut the director of technology, you need 2 more repair techs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, we need the additional repair techs regardless, Mr. Bahu, but we didn't want to add them and charge additional money to central office. So we made a reduction at central office to pay for them.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thanks for answering the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bahu. I just have another question on the same page, which is page 14. The clerical staff position on number 25, we added one. Why did we add one?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So if you notice for the current year, there are 3 positions on a grant. The grant is not sufficient to sustain those 3 positions next year. And so one of the positions has been moved from a grant to local. There are 23 this year, and there will be 23 next year. So there's no additional staff. It's just a funding move.
When I mean add staff, I mean to the budget. You took it from a grant position and brought it over. And I guess when you're in tough times, is that the best use of our funding? And when we just added a $138,000 position we're looking to put back, where does those $138,000 in last year's monies come in? Because I'm sure there's a raise that goes with that $138,000. So I don't know where the committee members are going to find the $140,000+ so that the bottom line of the budget is going to fit within the things that we're trying to bring back. And I think that that's where our responsibility is. If we're going to cut something or add something, who's getting cut and where's the funding coming from the committee members? Because it's their job to make the cuts, but as they add them, where is that funding coming from? And we're taking stuff off of grants and now bringing them over to the city side. And everybody knows when you get a grant, it's a temporary position. So that's the other issue, that's all, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would suggest we'll follow the committee's guidance, of course. There are 23 clerks today. We're proposing to have 23 clerks next year. I think it's fair to take it in the context that central office is, we talked about last time, 4% of the district budget in central office staffing. For next year, that is being reduced to about 3.5%. So overall, central office is again reducing by about $1 million. In that context, I think it's reasonable that we maintain the clerical staff, but we will take your guidance on that.
One of my questions also, Superintendent, is grant funding. Are we getting more grant funding this year to support the positions we have, or are we getting less and we're pushing those positions over to the budget side of school funded?
So your question could deserve like a really precise answer that I don't have the figure for, but I can say that we have been very successful in the last couple of years in chasing and successfully achieving grants. One of the examples I gave recently had to do with our new literacy curriculum that we received millions of dollars to help us completely revamp our literacy curriculum, money that did not come out of local dollars, money that did not involve positions in the district, and money that does not need to be replaced. We have that new curriculum now on board. We won't have to spend on it again for many more years. Overall, the grants funding in the district, again, I don't have a specific number, Mr. Mayor, but we have staff that work very hard on that, and I'm very proud of the amount of grant funds that we receive. The overall, in the budget, we are not adding to this local funds. We're reducing from local overall, both at central office and in schools.
And I agree with you on that. I'm just looking at your numbers as your sheets are, and it looks like most of the accounts are less in the grant funds, and they're being pushed over, which now you're taking grant positions and we're cutting other positions elsewhere. That's all. I'm just highlighting that piece as we go along through this, because this one has a substantial amount of a cut in the grant funding. That's all. Anybody have any
Mr.
other
Mayor?
questions? Yes.
Go back to that line number 25. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Superintendent, what happened to the grant? And the explanation why we reduced from 3 to 2 for the grants?
If you don't mind, Mr. Lay, yes.
Why the grant was reduced?
I'm going to ask Dr. Pinto, please, to respond.
Thanks, Mr. Lay. So this particular clerk happened to be moved off the 240 grant, which we won't receive an update on that until later in the summer. In addition, it allows us to save on the fringe for the position, which allows us to then direct more dollars towards students or services. So these funds could be allocated towards student need.
So we took
Well, thank
grant
you, Mr.
funding.
Pinto.
So we took grant funding from here, Dr. Pinto, and moved it to another area of the budget? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. Mayor, I'm saying that this position was taken off the grant and put on the local. The result of putting it on the local means that we won't have to account for fringe in the grant. So once you put fringe on the grant, fringe benefits, they can't be taken back once they're allocated, and so that amount would be 9% of the salary. So this will allow us, that 9% savings in the grant would allow us to allocate it towards services or student need.
So where did we put the funds after you took them off? Where did the other funds go that were on that grant? It's 45,000, right?
Mr. Mayor, so they are scattered throughout the budget. So there are a number of personnel who've been moved off the grant and into the operating budget at this time.
So that's where my concern is, when there's a need here and then we switch it to somewhere else, and it's hard to track that, but I understand what you did. Member Conway.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you to the superintendent. Do we have a list of individuals that were on a grant, and for whatever reason, the grant doesn't exist anymore, or we lost the grant, and we took those individuals and put them on our budget? We have a list in total on those? Because if we don't, I certainly want to see that.
I think, Mr. Conway, I've known that to be a point of sensitivity for the committee for many, many years, so we can certainly produce it. The answer to your question would change year on year. In general, as far as I can tell, we can get you the specifics, we've been receiving more grant funds for items like the new curriculum and not for positions.
Right, well, that's not the question. What I'm looking for, and I think the mayor just obviously brought it up, something started it, which I think is important to take a look at, that I'd like to know how many individuals have been moved over to our budget that were on a grant, but we lost the grant, or the grant went away, or whatever. And, you know, the bottom line is, for us to be going through a $250 million budget to try to figure that out, that should be, we should be able, you guys should be able to press a button and come up with the jobs that have been moved over from a grant that no longer exists for one way or another. And I would like to see that certainly before the next meeting. And I don't mean like the day before or an hour before, or put on our desk, 10 minutes before it starts, so that we can analyze that. Right?
Certainly, Mr. Conway. I'm going to refer to Dr. Pinto about the practicality of developing that list. For the school committee's, control of the process here, if you take the line that we're looking at as an example, you can tell by comparing last year to this year, you can see the numbers of folks on the grant and the number of people on the grant last year and this year and so on. So you can also determine that yourselves and question us on that. But your point is, I think, Mr. Conway, how many people have been on a grant, previously paid by a grant, that are now on a local budget? You'd like to know that. Dr. Pinto, can we develop that in a quick time?
So I'll offer a comment to start, and that is that typically when grants expire, any positions that have been hired with the grants should also expire. I'll give you an example. A practical example is ESSER. So the ESSER fund, source of funding has gone away, and that's why we're seeing a contraction right now of staffing. So we absorb, over the course of the last few years, we received additional dollars and were able to absorb some of those positions, and others we were not, so the positions had to end. As far as the practicality of generating a list for previously expired grants, where personnel have been moved to our budget, if we've absorbed them, then they're our employees. So I'm not sure about the practicality of producing a list in the next 2 days for
you can't do it from last year to this year?
I can certainly do it from last year to this year. Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult to go back and
It
take
really
care of the
is.
sins that have happened in the
Member
past.
Conway, it's in the budget last year's and this year's. That's how I picked out this one. And there's one at the LeBlanc that did the same thing. I was wondering if the grant dried up and the monies were gone, or did you shift them to another position?
Right.
And in some cases, and I'm not saying it's this case, but budgets, they do that because they can justify one position and they put the grant money to another position to hold it. And that's what happens in budgeting. I'm not saying that at all about this case. I'm just saying that that's what people do. They shift in the ones that they want to hold.
Yeah, I want to just see if we took and absorbed a job.
You did.
Because I don't want to go over it again, but the fact is that I want to see if we absorb particular jobs from a grant that no longer exists.
You can see it if you look at last year's is here, and you go to the other line, it shows you it was grant funded, and now it's not, but it's still in the budget.
Well, then it should be very easy to press a button and come up with a list then.
Mr. Mayor, we're happy to produce the list that Mr. Conway is seeking, and we'll try to do that in the next couple of days. Thank you.
Any other
Mr. Mayor.
questions on this? Member Lay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Seems like we have enough traction on this, enough discussion on this position. So can we just maintain the two position from the same as last year, and the one position that moved over from the grant, can we put that one on the side for now so we can discuss later? Put in abeyance?
We have so
So-
much to go over. I
Member
mean, we have
McFadden?
such a big budget, so if we start looking at what was grant funded before, what's not, can we move this here, can we hold this here, we're gonna be here for months. I mean, we have everything line by line for us to go through. We have enough information where we can see if something was grant funded before, grant funded after. If we start adding positions back, we're gonna have to cut positions somewhere else. So I just want to say that just for clarity, that process is going to be way more painful than it already is if we start doing this for every single line.
I think when we have questions, we should do that. If we have to vote it back on when we meet the next time, then no problem. But now at least we can put it aside for now, just for one position, and that way we can do it correctly. We don't have any regret.
Superintendent Scanlon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I can offer the committee a means to move through this particular item more quickly and also achieve what Mr. Lay is requesting. If we take the full amount for all of the clerks listed, the 21 clerks listed for $1,517,841. If we put that full amount in suspense for tonight, we're not going to commit to any spending on the clerks at all
I didn't say that,
until we.
Mr. Superintendent. I said only one position, only one.
Right. It would be difficult to do that, Mr. Lay. If we put the full amount aside, then it's a simpler calculation. I think we might be here much longer if we're trying to figure out how to remove one person from that line.
No, Mr. Pinto, can Mr. Pinto do it? I mean, I don't see why it's so difficult to just remove one out of three from that. I mean, 1 out of 21 from that.
School Committee Member Lay, I think School Committee Member McFadden explained it perfectly. It was just a question to see the grant monies and how they were shifting. That's all the question was about. It wasn't about holding anything up. The number of positions are the same, and the superintendent balanced the budget to the end. So all they do is take those funds and shift it into another position to hold it. So the funds are still being used. It's just in a different area. So at the end of the day, if we do this all the way through, I would agree with Ms. McFadden that we're going to be here for like 6 months. It's not going to be an easy task. And when we're adding in things to this, it's doing the same thing. If we're going to add to the finance and operations side, where are we going to cut out of? So that
Okay, Mr.
so we're
Mayor.
taking money.
Okay, I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Conway.
Just one clarification. You know, the way the budget's done on the city side and the school side are obviously different. We do go line by line. So if we're going down here and we decide that we want to, somebody doesn't think that a particular position exists, then they say, you know, make a motion to eliminate number 34 or number 134, whatever it may be. I mean, that's done all the time, ever since I can remember.
As you're well aware, Mr. Conway, on the city side, we go line items, not by person or position like that. We go through line items and then it gets searched out. It's not like we're running through positions and trying to hold them, to add them back in and then cut somewhere else. We don't do that on the city side.
I know that.
The DPW's budget is a DPW's budget, and if you cut a position out of there, it gets cut from there. If there's an addition or subtraction, it stays within that department. Now we're switching out of departments to try to get to a bottom line number. So to me, being from the city side, we're approaching on operations stuff where we're adding positions and
The only,
moving them around.
the only point I'm making is it's done differently on both sides.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Member Bajo?
And I'm sorry that I am going to drag this portion on, but I did have a, very important question about our computer hardware, our computer software, and our internet provider. They are found on page 15. They are lines 54, line 55, and line 56. In the 25 budget for computer hardware, and I'm going to do this one line at a time just because I don't want to bunch them all together. We spent $118,000. Last year, we bumped that number up to, I think after the discussion, to $1 million based on this book, but I think it was actually a little bit less than that. And this year, we're keeping it at $1 million. My question becomes, firstly, what are we spending it on? Secondly, how much of that line item have we spent? And thirdly, why are we spending so much money? And I'm going to ask the exact same question about the software, which is essentially doubled in 2 years, and I'm going to ask the same about the internet service provider, and I've got Verizon, I know how to save a buck, which has gone up by 250%. So please feel free.
Dr. Pinto, please.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you, Mr. Bajo. So on the computer hardware line, line 54, this pays for switches and infrastructure, AV equipment, security systems, phone. We've also got a build out coming up for 80 and Jeanne d'Arc that both need attention. And so that's what the hardware line is dedicated for. The
Last year, you told me the exact same thing. So is that not already been built out? And what is going to be built out next year? If, we've already spent that $1 million this year. And as far as the MIS expenses, it doesn't show that we're spending anywhere near it. We're 43% of what we allotted.
So with regard to the hardware, software lines, I'll tell you this, I'll be certainly happy, so lines 54 and 55, I'll be happy to furnish you with the detail on what's being purchased because I have line items for both hardware and software. So I'll be happy to furnish that for you for the next meeting, if that would be acceptable, or in advance of the next meeting. And of course, for the public to digest. The internet service provider, that bump was from 282 in FY25 to 300. This reflected a small percentage increase that was verified with the technology department for services across the district.
And it was 123 in 2025. I know, internet does not go up in 2 years from $123,000 to $300,000. So if, maybe we can go ahead and get a response from your secretary, I would be grateful. I'd be grateful for that.
So are you asking for detail on the line right now? You'd like to?
Sure.
Okay. If we can furnish it, we'll do that right now in the moment. If not, I'll be happy to also provide the detail behind the software provider, or the internet services provider for the next.
So we're going to have to either have to put that in abeyance or put that on some type of hold until I get some type of response on that.
So I'll ask the Deputy Chief Financial Officer, Amanda DuPont, to furnish detail.
So in fiscal year '24, we actually spent $124,664. Fiscal year '25, it was $123,292. And this year, we have already encumbered upwards of $161,638, and our fiscal year has not yet completed.
So the percentage is, of the allotted amount, roughly 65%?
It's 78.85% of the budget, correct.
Okay. Yes, so if we could get some, clarification on this computer hardware and computer for administration. And again, I don't mean to drag this on, but ultimately, there's millions of dollars that are being allotted when it was much less in previous years. And this really needs to be looked at, especially as we're cutting positions.
So, Mr. Bahu, I appreciate your concern. I'll be happy to furnish the detail.
Thanks, I've been looking forward to it.
Ms. Del Rossi?
And I just want to clarify, that's one of the reasons I wanted to keep, and I've always wanted to keep the Director of Technology. It's the Director of Technology's job to create this infrastructure. You know, it's not Mr. Pinto's job to have somebody draft it up. The Director of Technology should have a plan for this in terms of all of it and why things are costing so much. And it goes to a lot of special ed stuff. It goes to a lot of privacy and so forth. The daily attendance, all of it is integrated into it. And I think your answer lies within the Director of Technology, who should have a strategic plan for this.
Ms. Del Rossi, am I hearing what you, if I'm hearing what you're saying, is you're asking to cut the computer hardware number, the $1 million number, down by whatever the amount is to fund the position, the Director of Technology?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the answers to as to why maybe the internet service provider and the technology contracted services, why are they costing so much? You know, why are we contracting out if we have a Director of Technology, right? Why are the internet prices raising? What's going on? Where are we using more? Where are we using less?
If I understand, Mr. Mayor, the committee members' concerns, when we vote on the bottom line on this page, we should exclude lines 53, 54, 55, and 56, because the committee members are looking for further detail before you vote on those items.
Then why don't we just make a motion to hold this whole line and come back with it the way that it needs to be, rather than vote on something that we make 50 changes to and it really doesn't meet what the original purpose was.
So are you suggesting, Mr. Mayor, that we don't vote on pages 14 and 15 at all?
That's what I would suggest until we have it in proper working order. We've had a lot of changes to these two pages, and why come back and vote yes and then change again? Committee Member Bahu.
Yep, I think that's fair. We can just bypass this area because ultimately, there's a lot of money here, especially on technology. It's at $3.167 million. And you added in, Mr. Superintendent, line 53. If that's the case, that's fine. I wasn't questioning that, but I might as well add in line 57 as well, which is also the photocopier maintenance. So truthfully speaking, it is that whole administrative technology district-wide line item, which is line item number 1450. We can just go ahead and maybe just bypass voting on this particular part of the budget and then getting your response next week, because I really, personally speaking, think that this should be reduced by a larger number than, as large of a number as $500,000, which would truthfully save some positions that we need to go ahead and save.
So in order not to vote on this, Mr. Rossi, if you could withdraw your motion of approving it, and Ms. McFadden seconded it, we can just withdraw it and we'll just hold on it. You withdraw? Okay.
A motion to skip pages 14 and 15. You don't, I would, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was advertised that way. By Committee Member Bahu, seconded by Committee Member Conway. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas, approved.
Page 16, I believe Dr. Pinto wants that one removed also. So a motion by Committee Member McFadden, seconded by Committee Member Del Rossi to skip page 16, the motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent to approve the bottom line figure of $3,644,379. Roll call.
Ms. Martin?
Mr. Mayor, one question.
Yes.
We do have that fine arts position, line 71.
That's why we have to skip it, so
Oh,
he's
we're
going
going
to
to
come
skip
back.
it. Okay. Okay, we're skipping that as well.
Yep,
Ms.
because it's
Martin?
an addition.
Ms. McFadden?
Oh, we're voting on page 17 now?
No, we are just voting on 16.
Oh, okay, yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Page 17, Principal School Leadership. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and approve the bottom line figure of $12,384,573. Seconded by...
I actually have a question about that.
Want to second it first and then
Yes.
question? All right, seconded by Ms. Del Rossi. Mr. Bahu.
Somebody reached out to me because the AVP was being cut at the wing, but the budget notated that you need to have 2 AVPs as a minimum. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Thank you. The principal of the school was questioned about her offer to cut an assistant principal role and came back with what we consider to be a worthy plan, that she would manage the school without the second assistant principal and had sufficient support otherwise, and we accepted that proposal that she made. It was something she voluntarily, that I'm not saying she voluntarily did, I'm sure she'd be glad to have more staff, but she offered that as a reduction with a plan.
And you're comfortable with the plan?
Yes.
I have a bigger motive than just being on the school committee because my son is going there next year, and I know that the enrollment is higher at the wing than some of the other middle schools who are still maintaining.
Yeah,
two assistant principals.
this is the kind of thing that's really worthy of school committee members to do. Question it, and if you'd like more details on what is that plan, we should provide you that as well. One option might be to speak with the school principal. We could set that up and certainly provide that opportunity. And we could restore the assistant principal position if you chose to do that.
Thank you.
Member Bahu.
Line 98, on page 17. We went ahead and hired last year an alternative school assistant administrator. Is this an administrator for all the alternative schools, or is this simply for the day school? Is it the 80-day school?
Yes, Mr. Bahu, it's an administrator for the 80.
And there's no other schools, no other alternative schools that have administrators?
So the 80 school in Chelmsford needs to have an administrator. A couple of years ago, although the Jeanne d'Arc site is not ready to be opened fully, we need classrooms so badly that we opened some classrooms in the convent at the Jeanne d'Arc site. And no administrator was provided for that, which is a risk of sorts. So in last year's budget, the committee agreed to put an administrator in that, in the Jeanne d'Arc site.
Okay, so when we close the school, I mean, we're probably going to be moving out of the 80-day school next year. That position may have to be eliminated because we will have a school coordinator.
I think we'll have to look at it at the time. As you know, Mr. Bahu, in the meantime, while we keep waiting for Jeanne d'Arc to be ready to open, the need for it continues to grow. It might become a very large school. We might be adding administrators by the time it gets there. It's a very a growing population and a growing need. But to answer your question, yes, we have to look at that next year and see if it's warranted or not.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Mr. Lay, do you have any questions?
I do, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Assistant principals. I see that you got one assistant principal reduced. And also, I just want to know what is the reason for some school having multiple assistant principals, and some school need only one, and in this particular case, that school does not even need an assistant principal. So what is the need for having an assistant principal?
Mr. Lay, we have guardrails for the budget that determine, based on the size of the school, how many assistant principals they should have. And so most of our schools, based on the size, the student population, warrant 2 assistant principals.
So what are the roles for the assistant principals? Why some schools have multiple and some schools not even have one?
For the most part, Mr. Lay, it's based on the size of the school.
Are you all set, Mr. Lay?
So in this particular case, is the assistant principal eliminated because of the size of the students? It got smaller, is that why?
I think, Mr. Lay, you're asking a similar question to the one that Ms. McFadden asked, and I explained in that case that one middle school principal feels that she has sufficient administrative support to not continue to have two assistant principals and asked us for permission to have just one. We reviewed her plan and we thought she had some sound thinking, and we've agreed to that. If the school committee prefer that we add the second assistant back, we can certainly do that.
Oh, so reduce from 2 to 1. Thank you, Mrs. Superintendent.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
I have a comment. Line 91, is that staff that was reduced by Lowell High School, the student support? So do we have to eliminate that?
Dr. Pinto?
That, we are not going to vote tonight on positions that are being considered at the high school.
Okay, so
but that position is not being considered for restoration. There's one position still being reduced at the high school.
okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
So it has nothing to do with this line item here, correct, Mr. Superintendent?
That's correct.
Thank you. Roll call.
It'll be simpler, I think, for everyone and to assuage any concerns if we vote on page 17. However, if we put line 91, line 91, if we put the 746,622 from there into suspense for 1 week, and that allows the high school to make adjustments if necessary. Does that make sense?
Why don't we skip it like we're doing all the other lines?
Well, Mr. Baha, you withdraw your motion to approve?
I wasn't trying to mess everything up. I just noticed that was something that was discussed on the Lowell High School side.
It's good that you caught it.
It is
We
good that
would
you
rather
caught
have
it.
it all organized in one sheet than jumping around. It makes it so much easier.
Can we reduce it by $746,622 and then vote on it and then try to restore those?
You can do whatever you want as long as you get your 3, 4 votes.
Typically,
Let's just figure out how we want to deal with this and do it for every single one, right? Like every time we're going to do something, have
if
a
I may,
process.
Mr. Bahu's suggestion is that the way we typically do it, among other reasons, there's a potential that when we come back to this page next time that we'll end up talking about a whole series of other items in addition to the one that we were marking. I think it makes sense to take the item that's of concern and put it in suspense until we clarify that item, but vote on the remainder of the page.
You keeping the motion?
Yes, so I'm actually going to take that amount out and let you know what that amount is, if that works for you, Mr. Mayor.
Whatever the wish of the body is. I just think now we're in confusion. We just skipped like 6 areas, and now we're going to only do it for one because we messed up and didn't understand that was within there.
I think we need to be as consistent as possible
That's
with this
what
process because, again, I go back, we'll be here for months.
If Mr. Bahu can get his
Comment.
4 votes.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and reduce that amount by $746,622, which would bring the line item to $11,637,000, $637,951.
I second that.
So, could you repeat the amount, 700 and what?
I'm going to reduce it by the line item, for line item 91, which is a reducing by 746,622.
And this was the position of?
Student Support Services, Student Services Specialist, LHS. There were 6 positions.
For clarity, Mr. Bahu, you intend us to put the funds in suspense.
That's correct.
So that's by Mr. Bahu, you need a second?
Is there a second?
I second.
By Mr. Lay.
So Mr. Lay.
Roll call.
Ms. McFadden?
No.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
No.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
4 yeas, 2 nay, 1 absent, passes. Now you'll need to change, now if we actually vote on this line, we'll need to change the bottom line.
Back to what it is.
We're happy to give you a new bottom line number. Would you like a new bottom line number?
Sure.
Ms. DuPont, please.
So the updated bottom line number for this section is 11,637,951. We've increased the suspense account by
We can wait till we get to the suspense to vote on that.
Okay, thank you.
So, Ms. Martin, Ms. McFadden,
Yes.
Mr. Bahu,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mayor Getchia,
Yes.
Mr. Lay.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent.
So we need a motion to skip pages 18 and 19, teaching staff. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $115,410,850. Motion to skip it by Ms. Del Rossi, seconded by Mr. Bahu. Roll call.
Mr. Mayor, page 18 and 19, you said?
We're voting to skip it.
Skip 18 and 19.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Martin, Ms. McFadden,
Yes.
Mr. Bahu,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mayor Getchia,
Yes.
Mr. Lay.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent.
Page 20, medical therapeutic services. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $37,802,043 by Member Conway, seconded by Member Lay. Any questions, discussion? Roll call. Up, Member Lay.
I have a lot of notes on this page, actually. Can you justify line 142, 143, all those paraprofessionals, why they are being reduced so much?
Thank you, Mr. Lay.
Like 40%.
So, as we mentioned before, the individual schools are receiving additional funds this year. However, it's not enough to cover the costs of staff that we have in those schools. And so each school has worked with school leaders. We have a lot of contracts for special ed services that come from that grant and from local. If the positions remain in the grant, we are obligated to pay health and benefits from the grant as well, and that is not the most efficient way to use the grant. So by putting the 240 positions on local budget, we save dollars that we spend on the contract services. In layman speak, it's a wash. It's just a way to be more efficient.
Okay. So for me, as I stated earlier, that we receive extra funding from DESI because they recognize that we need to spend this much amount of money in order to educate to help those kids who are, I think, has not permanent special needs, but temporary special needs, so that they can catch up with the rest of the student body. And the money that they gave us extra is intended to educate those kind of students. Paraprofessionals, EL, they're pretty much lower paid people, but I think the work that they provide to help students tremendous. We take pride over the direction that our students, the districts are moving, saying that our graduation rate goes up and everything goes up. But I think that's credit to those increase in paraprofessional that we had. So I feel that we need to find money to help students by continue hiring these people so that they have a direct impact to the student. Therefore, I like to not reducing them. And if you need to reduce, I would say I would like to go back and reduce by a smaller amount, but not 40%. And even further down line 151, reduced by 58%. I think those are the people who actually help the kids who need help the most. Therefore, I want to, I'm not going to support cutting those positions. Rather, I want to find way to bring them back. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to argue that we want to have supports for our vulnerable populations, but I just want to state that there's no such thing as being temporarily special needs. So I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody watching.
The committee members may wish the context around paraprofessionals. First off, these are representing decisions that were made in schools, not by central office, but by the school staff. You need, I think, to keep in mind, we have more paraprofessionals per student in Lowell than any other district we know of. We have a recent study that compared us to various, what they're called like districts, New Bedford, Lynn, Fall River, and so forth, and we have many more paraprofessionals per student than those districts. So it's not a surprise to me that schools have made this choice. You'll also notice, Mr. Lay, to your point about the state funding, line 43, special ed one-to-one paraprofessionals, we're actually increasing by 12. So for those special needs students, we're increasing the number of paraprofessionals.
I think there are some schools. I remember one of them was Bartlett and could have been Butler as well, but I remember clearly Bartlett did mention that they want more paraprofessionals. So I have a feeling that because of the way we gave them so little money, that they have to choose who to cut, and they just chose to cut the one that needs help the most. And I think, I think they are temporary need just because these group of students, they need help just to be able to get up to speed. Therefore, I think whatever we can help them now will help them a lot in the future. You know, I, I don't know what you're thinking, but if I could, I want to skip line 20, page 20 as well, so we can talk about it in more detail, because this is important. I don't think we want to rush to cut these paras when they are the lowest paying positions, and they have great impact to help students. And I picked Bartlett as one of the schools, but I think several schools did say that they want more staff. So if we could, when we talk about the positions, when we find some money, I'd rather put money to help the students. And this is the position that have the right impact to help students. I'd like to skip page 20. I'd like to put in a motion to
Motion
skip
by,
page 20.
there's already a motion on the table, so if the motion feels it's on the table, then we can skip this piece.
Yeah, Mr. Conway is the maker of the he's the first of the motion, so if he wants to withdraw, so you can do that.
Okay, so just on the motion that's forward by Member Lay, is there a second on that motion? By Member Conway. On the motion, I don't know what the purpose is being here tonight. We talk about something, then we just kind of sit here on it. I don't understand what we're doing, so if we're not going to pass anything, why don't we just postpone the rest of the meeting and come back when everything's in place for everybody? But anyway, roll
So
call.
maybe this is the first time we talk about it.
So
What's the motion we're voting on?
this is the motion to skip page 20, medical therapeutic services.
If
Ms.
I may,
Martin?
oh, excuse me.
Mr. Conway, you're not withdrawing your motion, so we can.
We're in the middle of a roll call, Dominic. Your motion is on the table.
Okay.
So
Thank
we're
you.
trying to vote your motion.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
No.
Mr. Bahu?
No.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
No.
Mayor Getchia?
No.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
2 yeas, 4 nays, 1 absent.
We need a motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent to approve the bottom line figure of $37,800 and $2,043. Motion by Member Bahu, seconded by Member McFadden. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
No.
5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent.
Motion passes. Page 21, professional development. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $3,502,846 by Member McFadden, seconded by Member Del Rossi. Are there any discussion on this one? Member Lay, do you have anything?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
We are on a roll.
Don't jinx it.
I think I might have. I think I just did. I'm sorry. Page 22, instructional material equipment tech. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $7,271,975. Motion to accept by Member Conway, seconded by Member Lay. Any discussion? Mr. Bahu. Mr. Bahu.
I'm back on the computer hardware and the computer software. Looks like the computer hardware, we're looking to increase from $245,000 last year to $700,000 this year. Are we getting new Chromebooks? Tell me where that cost is coming from. It seems like it's a pretty substantial increase of about $450,000.
Dr. Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Bahu. So this is a replacement of interactive panels, iPads to be provided. And in the past, we've been reliant on savings to make this work, but that's not prudent or sustainable. In the past, we purchased large quantities. In this case, we're considering a lease agreement for refresh of devices. And that's been included in this number.
Are our iPads, are they obsolete? Are they outdated? Are they not working? Because I know basically the iPads, the computers, are not going home with the students anymore. So as much as we're hiring more technicians to go ahead and fix our computers, that's great. Are these computers breaking at that same rate? Do we need to update them to that level this year? You know?
So I'll turn it over to the Assistant Superintendent of Support Services, Alice, Ms. Brown-Legrand, to comment.
Terrific.
Thank you. We have, as you know, a lot of sub-separate classrooms, particularly for students with autism, and one of their ways of communicating is through the use of iPads. As we continue to add programs and as the sophistication of the software continues to increase to allow students to access, more students are using iPads. The other piece for us is, unfortunately, at times, given the challenges some of our students have, there are breakage of the iPads connected to behavioral challenges that some of our students have, so we have to kind of factor that in. But as the technology kind of improves for students to access, the amount of iPads being added to students' IEPs is increasing because they have better access, better ability to communicate and utilize those iPads every day.
Sure, thank you.
Yep.
But it does seem like a pretty substantial increase. So tell me about that increase, if you're following
There's
along.
another piece to it as well.
Sure,
Okay.
Mr. Bahu, though, Dr. Pinto talked about the clear touch boards. So we installed digital clear touch boards in every single classroom. They're all instructional. We did that over a period of about 2 years. They're all aging out throughout our district. So we're coming up against a situation now where they are dying on us, and it's just sort of the beginning of what we need to do for a much larger refresh on those boards. And I can tell you that our teachers use them every single day. One of our friends up in the balcony is giving this the thumbs up because they are an integral part of the day-to-day instruction. So we have to plan for these now because they are becoming obsolete.
Sure, and I appreciate that. But let's be real, if you buy something that's 2 years ago, no? It sounds like they were purchased about 2 years ago, is that correct?
No, these were purchased several years ago. So most of these clear touch boards are between 5 and 8 years old. So they are aging out.
Okay, terrific. Thank you for your explanation, appreciate it.
Mr. Lay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is on line 191. You have a very big increase. It's a 40-time increase. If I do the math correctly in my head, 40-time increase from last year. I wonder why. What's the big change?
Yeah, Mr. Lay, it's a great question. It's also an obvious question. Dr. Pinto, please.
So this is meant to, this increase is meant to cover a rising sped cost. Traditionally, we've held it at 25K. That has not been the appropriate figure to fund this line at. We need to initiate services right away in September, so there should be no lapse of services. And so these cover various contracts that are important for services that are needed immediately, things like nursing, speech and language, BCBAs. I can ask Assistant Superintendent Brown-Legrand to comment further.
So the department spends just under, in the last couple of years at least, about $2 million on contracted services. A good chunk of that comes from the 240 grant, which is the big special education grant, which also holds a number of special education positions and funds most of our summer program, the special education summer program. The other component of the special ed grant has to do with students that are a proportionate share or special ed eligible students that are attending other schools that we have responsibility for. The contracted services are exactly that. They are student service delivery personnel. So we get students, we've been trying to hire nurses. That continues to be a struggle. When we need a student that has complex medical issues that needs a one-to-one nurse, we are contracting with agencies. The cost of that is exorbitant. That is the bulk of where our money at this moment is going to. We have absences of speech and language pathologists, BCBAs, OT, PT. Those are extremely hard to fill positions. We post and post and post. But as we wait for those positions to get filled, we are racking up compensatory services for students who are entitled to that service delivery. So we have to get somebody in place while we continue to try to find somebody. As an example, we've had 2 open speech and language positions this year, repeatedly posted, unable to fill it, not even from the sense of, maybe not great applicants, no applicants, nobody applying for the positions. And so we contract with agencies to fill those positions. So there's still contracted services that will come out of the grant as well to meet this need. But I think in Dr. Pinto saying this is a way of kind of wrangle it into one line item. 25,000 was maybe not an accurate picture of historically what the department needs to spend historically.
If I may add that one, we've made a little bit of gains on the contracted services. The committee voted at some point in the last year to increase our pay for nurses so that we could recruit more nurses. And the point is that if we increase the salary for some of the positions that are hard to fill, and then we start filling them, the increase in salary is really worth it. Because when we go to, if we provide nursing services through an agency, that's contracted services, it costs us much, much more than if we paid people a higher salary to attract them to come in. The same might be true in the future of speech and language pathologists and various other services. If we continue to post and can't find people for those jobs, the contracted services cost, it's not a good way to do business.
So last year, when we only estimated 25,000, was it because we had enough staff, or we just way off in our estimate?
Mr. Grant?
I will defer to Dr. Pinto and specifically where, but I do know that, a portion, as I said, probably about 800,000 has typically come out of the 240 grant. The remainder is typically out of the local in a variety of locations, is my understanding. I don't want to venture to speak as to where. I think this was an attempt to condense it into one line, if that's correct.
That is correct, and thank you.
So we lost the grants. That's why we put on a budget. Is that right?
No, Mr. Lay, we did not lose the grant.
All right, move on. Thank you.
I do have one question on that. Through the superintendent to Dr. Pinto, year to date, what's the expenditure in that account currently?
So I'll have that for you in just a minute. It's worth considering that we may be drawing that from a number of lines at the moment to pay for it. Oh, well, not maybe, we are pulling from a number of different lines across the district to pay for it.
So how much money has been transferred into that account that's at 25,000, that line that's there? Because if there's multiple accounts that are being drawn to bring it there, that means somewhere there's extra funding sitting that you can withdraw to bring it there. So I'm trying to figure out, and I looked through your munis report, but it's not clearly defined that line item is 25,000.
We're calculating that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll ask the Deputy Chief Financial Officer DuPont to comment.
So we originally funded the budget at $25,000. To date, we have transferred in $686,412. We have spent approximately $467,797, and we've encumbered an additional $229,740.
So currently you spent roughly close to 700,000,
Correct.
and we're in April?
Correct.
So you got, what, May and June left?
Yes.
So I would make a motion to reduce that line item by $200,000. If there's a second.
I just have a question about that.
Yep.
If we know costs are increasing for next year, so if we reduce that, but we're expecting costs to rise, then we might still end up at that number.
The question comes to, they already backfilled the monies into that account from somewhere. So somewhere there's monies extra that's being transferred in that is filling that account that we can't figure out because we don't know those numbers in front of us. So there is somewhere where there's extra funding that's being pushed over. And I think $200,000 would be a good place to start if we're going to look at positions and stuff like that, that's all.
And cost escalation.
Second by Mr. Conway.
Should I comment?
Any questions on the motion? Roll call on the motion? 200, yeah, 200,000, the contracted services, 191.
Mr. Mayor, can I clarify what the vote is on?
Of course, yep. Oh, you want me to say what it's on? Reducing the contractual services 191 from 800,000, from the million down to 800,000.
So we will follow your lead. On special education contracted services, we don't have a choice. It's in the child's IEP, and so we have to provide the services legally we're obligated to. The figures that Ms. DuPont gave of spending of about, I think you said 700,000. If I add the two numbers she gave, it's actually closer to 800,000. It's about $100,000 per month. So for the 10 months, and we actually do some of the services in the summertime as well, it is going to be $1 million. So I just want you to consider that, please.
Oh, I understand that, and it was $25,000 this year. We found a place to transfer funding from, and we don't have those places where those fundings came from. So I don't know if those areas were reduced or not, but if we had the ability to transfer that type of money over in any accounts, that means there's monies somewhere that we are not being pointed.
Understood, Mr. Mayor.
That's all. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
No?
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent.
On the original motion, roll call?
Mr. Mayor, I think we need a new bottom
Oh,
line.
yeah, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, the new bottom line, let me read the motion.
7,000.
The instruction, motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent to approve the bottom line of $7,071,975,000. Motion by Member Bahu, seconded by Member McFadden. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Page 23, 27, and 28, guidance counselors testing. It's been recommended to skip this one, so I need a motion to skip the accepted recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of the $12,744,623. Motion skipped by Ms. McFadden, seconded by Mr. Bahu. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway? Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 24 and 25, public service, pupil services. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $4,424,046 by Ms. McFadden, seconded by Mr. Conway. Any discussion? Mr. Lay, do you?
Line 213. What happened to that grant, 173,000?
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're looking that up.
Bilingual family.
Line 213?
Right.
213, there's no grant on that one.
Bilingual family liaison.
Oh, there was on this side, 173.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2 employees were reclassified. Mr. Lay, thank you for the question. 2 employees have been reclassified to alternate lines, and they were reclassified to line 214.
I don't understand why. So by just reclassified, the grant is lost?
The grant was not lost. They were just reclassified to the operating budget.
Right, but so it used to be, we used to receive 173,000 grants to help pay 3 positions. But now somehow the grant's gone. That's why we put them in our regular budget, right?
Okay, I'm gonna ask Amanda to comment.
So I just want to know why the grant's being taken away.
I'll ask Ms. DuPont to comment.
The grant for these positions has not been lost. They were 2 full-time parent liaisons that were reclassified to the school full-time parent liaison account, which is line 214. The third position is a reduction of one of our full-time bilingual family liaisons within central office, previously funded by Title I. Title I funds we still expect to receive next year.
So how come we don't put that amount on the right column, the grant offset column?
They are being funded through the school site budgets, those 2 positions that were reclassified.
I guess what I don't understand is how come last year we able to use 173,000 as a grant offset, but this year we don't have it.
I think Mr. Lay's question is referring to the fact that if we have grant funds that we used last year for these positions and we haven't lost a grant, what are we using the funds for?
So we are anticipating a reduction in Title I funds, and so we have to make allowances for that. But this position was reduced.
I don't know if you don't I don't know if you would understand my question. Why that grant amount is not listed on the right side as an offset?
So, Mr. Lay, thank you. I'm going to try and add clarity to my answer, or try and answer your question in a slightly different fashion. So we haven't lost the grant. We are receiving Title I funds. The Title I grant overall, we are expecting a reduction overall in the Title I grant. In this case, it wasn't enough to sustain this particular position. So 2 have been reclassified and are being paid for on the operating budget by the school, and 1 position is being lost. It's not being paid for by a grant, but the grant is not lost.
I think if I can add, Mr. Lay, the Title I grant's about $11 million, and we anticipate losing $1 million of those dollars. So we're losing $1 million in Title I funding, and that's been accounted for.
So the reason we don't put it there yet, just because we don't know exactly how much the amount, is that the reason?
It's more the case, Mr. Lay, that since we know that we already anticipate that we're going to lose $1 million in Title I funding, we've accounted for it by not spending that dollar amount here.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lay. If you look on page 32, Mr. Lay, down bottom, it shows you last year they had $30 million, $344,684 in positions that were funded by grants. And if you look on the right side of it this year, there's $29,285,266 for a reduction of $1,059,000 $1,448 in grant funds. So I think that those are probably where those positions went, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
All right. What page did you say, Mr. Mayor?
It's page 32.
32. My page 32 don't have any. My page 32 do not have anything like what you just said.
It down the bottom, it would be the grant piece. You'll see it looks blank, but down the bottom, those are the numbers. It says grand total next to them. Those are the numbers for the total budget that got reduced.
All right, I will do that with Mr. Pinto later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roll call on the motion?
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Is the motion to approve this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I can understand. Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 26, Transportation. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $19,178,992 by Member McFadden, seconded by Member Conway. Any questions? Roll call. Ms. McFadden.
I have some transportation questions.
Perfect.
Get them all ready for you. This might be something that we might need down the road, and it wouldn't necessarily affect my voting on this, but just something that I'd like to know, and I think the public would as well. If you could provide a breakdown of the total transportation spending versus the reimbursement, so that we can understand what our true costs of transportation are to the district, and particularly when we're looking at special education and homeless, because that's increased so much and will be increasing.
Certainly. I think that's a sensible question. We'll be happy to provide that.
Okay, thank you. And then are there any strategies that we're using in pursuing locally or at the state level to address the gap in what we're being reimbursed and what we're actually paying out of pocket?
Ms. McFadden, we can provide some of the information that you're looking for right now, if that would help.
That'd be great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Ms. McFadden, we're expecting homeless transportation to be reimbursed at 61.36% of the total in FY25. Circuit breaker allows us to a 75 to 80% reimbursement of over a qualifying amount. I believe that qualifying amount to be $53,431 this time around. Foster care transportation reimbursed at 18% of the total spent, but we won't know these totals until the dollars coming back until the end of year report is filed, and that happens in September 30th of the following year. And so the reimbursement in some cases comes in a lump sum, but we may have to wait for months for that to happen. So it won't be well into 27 before we receive reimbursement for this year.
Thank you. And then just another thing, as we're looking into the future, because I know transportation is going to be something that is going to haunt us on an annual basis when we're doing the budget. Should we, after we approve the budget, look towards the 27-28 school year and looking how our zones are structured and our school selections are, maybe adding more zones to help with the transportation costs? It's just something that I'd like to explore down the line, and I just wanted to put that bug
Thank you, Ms.
in
McFadden.
everyone's ear. Yeah.
We also think, Ms. McFadden, that's a sensible idea. We have been studying it as best we can. It's a very complex issue, but we expect to have some proposals to share with the school committee in the coming weeks.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Bahu?
Real quick, so the homeless transportation, we're expecting, Dr. Pinto, we're expecting it to be a 61.36 reimbursement. Is that based on last year, or is that sort of progressing towards the end of this year?
Thanks, Mr. Bahu. That's what we've received historically.
That's what we saw, so 61% of
0.3.
essentially the $2.3 million that we're allotting?
So I can't say that with certainty. I can furnish you that as it comes. I've just given you a historical number.
Okay, it's a historical number, but the historical number is of the, essentially what we're providing in the general fund. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the rule of thumb is to sort of just go with that. Okay, and does that assist us with our overall budget and how we're able to go ahead and have transfers and hire some of our teachers and
Any reimbursement is welcome. Unfortunately, it comes quite late in the year, once the year has already started.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, are we on page 26? If that's the case, line 244, transportation manager, we increasing 20% for that position?
That's correct, Mr. Lay. The school committee may recall that we recently lost our transportation manager who was left for a new position. The school committee raised the salary of the position to $120,000 in order to help us attract a new candidate. We haven't done that yet. We haven't been able to find someone yet, and so we might come back to you for more. But the school committee has already voted, Mr. Lay, to increase the transportation manager salary to upwards to $120,000.
Okay.
All set, Mr. Lay?
Yes.
Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi? Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. 27, error mark, has no bottom line figure, it's just informational. Any questions on it? Perfect. Page 28 and 29, athletics and student activities. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $1,847,022 by Ms. Del Rossi, seconded by Mr. Conway. Any questions? Mr. Lay?
Just a question on the 267 on stipend. There's a reduction, which is a good thing, but why?
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you. So that comes out of the Lowell High School workbook. In other words, Mr. Lay, that was a choice made at the high school. I don't have in front of me what exactly it represents. It may be that the high school is going to have one less club next year than they've had, or something to that effect.
Okay.
Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi? Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 30, custodial and security services. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $10,427,009. Motion by Mr. Bahu, seconded by Mr. Lay.
Did we
Any
skip
questions?
page 29, Mr. Mayor?
Page 30.
But did we skip 29? I thought we voted on 28 a moment ago.
We voted on
We
28
just did
and
28 and
29.
29 together.
And 29? Oh, okay, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Mr. Bahu? Okay. Any questions on page 30? Mr. Conway?
Thank you. Through you to the superintendent, we've got overtime on 287 going from 150 to 250, and the other 288 overtime miscellaneous. 125 up to 400,000. Why such an incredible increase there?
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Conley. We the numbers that are budgeted for next year are based on actuals. I know that though I don't recall the exact position, last year when the committee wanted to restore a position, we had to reduce money elsewhere, and I believe these lines were one of the places we took money to restore a position. I can tell you that we've monitored the spending this year, and I noticed, or with the help of the finance office, that our overtime for custodians was over budget as of December. We're already over budget by December. And I made some statements about not approving any further overtime. We just can't be that much over budget. I think it was on a Friday. On a Saturday, there was a pipe burst at the Sullivan School, and we had custodians in there for the whole weekend. So that's custodial overtime, right? And so although we were determined to stop in December, we've continued to overspend that line. And it's in part because we reduced it last year to fund the position. But the numbers you're looking at on the right are accurate, more accurate numbers based on actual expenses than are budgeted for this year.
You all set, Mr. Lay? I mean, Mr.
Yes.
Conway, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes, so if you could kindly, maybe Ms. Dupont could share, what we spent on overtime last year as well as the year before. That might be a good rule of thumb on how we can sort of progress. And I understand that we were over budget by December, but it just does seem like that we're, $375,000 more than we allotted for last year.
Thank you. We should be able to give you that right now, Ms.
Yeah,
Bahu.
of course,
Yeah.
exactly what I'm looking for.
I'll be happy to provide those numbers. So in the overtime account for miscellaneous, in FY24, we spent $409,450. Last year for FY25, we spent $396,800. And to date, we are over our allotted amount by $156,830 for a total amount of $281,893 to date.
Okay? So is there a way to reel this in? This overtime man out? I can call in sick, Dave comes in and works for me, Dave works, because he's off today, and Dave is getting what, time and a half or double time?
If your man out is typically, so in many of our schools, say a middle school or an elementary school that has 3 or 4 custodians, when one person is out, they have an area, and one of the other custodians will cover their area. They don't clean it entirely the way the person who's absent would have, but they empty the trash in those rooms and so on. There are a couple of minimal chores, and they get an additional dollar amount for that. It's not time and a half. They get an additional stipend, basically, for doing that extra work. It's contractual, it's part of their contract.
Sure, that's costing, we're pretty much setting up $750,000 for that. Terrific. Okay, let's take a vote.
I think sometimes, Mr. Bahu, is you get people out on workman's comp and stuff like that, and now it throws everything into a tailspin, as we see on the other side of the house at the other school.
That, Mr. Mayor, as it so happens, is a considerable amount of the extra costs. You're correct.
Mr. Lay?
I'm all set, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Page 31, employee benefits and retirements. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $34,787,000. Motion to accept by Committee Member Del Rossi, seconded by Committee Member McFadden. Any questions? Mr. Lay?
No, sir.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 31, rental of buildings. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $894,356. Motion to accept by Member Del Rossi, seconded by Member Conway. Any questions? Mr. Lay, any question?
No, sir.
Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi? Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 31, capital outlay. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and approve the bottom line figure of $950,000. Motion to accept by Ms. McFadden, seconded by Mr. Bahu. Any questions?
Sure, one question.
Yeah,
Mr.
go ahead,
Lay.
Mr. Bahu.
Mr.
Bahu.
Lay.
Oh, thank you. Capital improvements, seems like it goes up 125%. The same thing with equipment replacement, it goes up 60%. That's a lot. That's a big jump. So just want to hear why and what would be considered as capital improvements.
Thank you, Mr. Lay. For the most part, the increase in capital improvements is down to playgrounds. There are several playgrounds at schools across the city that have been completely rebuilt and they're brand new. Those are playgrounds that are owned by the city. In the unusual arrangements that we have in Lowell, some of our playgrounds are not the city's responsibility, they are the school department's responsibility. And so the update of a playground typically will cost in the region of, say, $200,000. We have had playgrounds replaced and rebuilt that cost close to $1 million, $700,000 or $800,000. Those have been paid for by the city. The ones that are the school department's responsibility need updating as well, roughly at a cost of $200,000 a time.
So are we have anything in place that we're going to spend all this money for next year?
Yes, Mr. Lay. So there's a long-standing issue with the playground at the Bailey School, for example, and various efforts to have that be repaired have not been funded and not properly executed. And so we're hoping that I know that for a fact that that's one of them that we're looking to fund, and there may be others. Do you know of any others?
No, that was the one I was thinking of.
Isn't it? Can we, instead of using the school budget to do all of that, I mean, couldn't we find the money from somewhere else, like either the state or the city? Superintendent?
It's a good idea, Mr. Lay. We actively apply for grants, but in the case of the Bailey School, they've been waiting for a considerable number. They've waited for 2 or 3 years with their current playground closed and roped off because it's considered to be unsafe. And we believe that they deserve to have a playground at that school.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Gitchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Page 32, out-of-district budget. Motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line figure of $12,400,000. Motion by Mr. Lay, seconded by Ms. Del Rossi. Any questions, discussion?
Early college, is that something that something new this year?
Mr. Superintendent?
No, Mr. Lay, it's been in place for several years.
But it's not in last year's budget. However, it appears in this year's budget, right?
Yes, Mr. Lay, you're correct. I'm looking for some notes on that. Yep, I can't offhand explain why there's an anticipated cost of $100,000 for that. It is a valuable program for students at the high school. In fact, it typically refers to students who have finished or are in their 5th year at the high school and who can avail of Middlesex Community College services.
So are we spending this on acquisition, or what do we spend $100,000 for?
Given the line item, Mr. Lay, presumably it's access to programming at Middlesex Community College for some of our high schoolers.
So this is the money that we spend. I mean, we pay to Middlesex, right?
We previously paid that. Sorry. We previously, so we previously paid for using refugee dollars. We use it for laptops, books.
Yeah, Mr. Lay, Dr. Pinto is giving me some additional detail. Maybe Dr. Pinto, if you'd please explain.
Sure, I'll pass that to Ms. DuPont to comment.
Thank you. So last year it was zeroed out because the state actually made a provision where community college would be free for most of the citizens in the state of Massachusetts, which is why we reduced the amount. However, we are introducing $100,000 in order to support those students by providing them laptops, books, and the fees associated with going to school.
Okay. Because going to Middlesex is still free for them, right?
Sorry, that is correct. The tuition is free.
Okay, thank you.
See no questions, roll call.
Ms. Martin, Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi?
Yes.
Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is the best line of all. Page 32, suspense account. Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent and to approve the bottom line of $0.
No, there is money in there.
Oh, there's money?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we need to revise that, I believe.
I was getting excited here. It was free. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ms. DuPont?
Yes, so with the addition of the student services specialist positions, we added $746,622, and with the reduction in the contracted services for special ed in the amount of $200,000, the school committee suspense account has been increased to $946,622.
Can you say that number again? 946?
$946,622.
And we're going to continue that at the next meeting.
You want to skip this one and bring it back, the next one?
It's just a suspense account. It just says that's where we're at currently. It's just an
Yeah.
update.
I'll include it in the next meeting too,
Perfect.
because it could be ongoing.
And that's
We
it?
need to vote on it though.
Yeah, we still need to vote on it, so.
We need a first and a second. Yeah.
Motion to accept the recommendations of the superintendent to approve the bottom line figure of $946,622 by Ms. McFadden, seconded by Ms. Del Rossi. Roll call.
Ms. Martin, Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Del Rossi? Mayor Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Yes.
6 yeas.
So at this point,
We're gonna recess.
we're going to make a motion to recess until next Wednesday at, does 5 o'clock work?
Next Wednesday, Mr. Mayor, was scheduled to be in conjunction with a regularly scheduled meeting, and so it was at 6:30.
Okay.
This has to be a separate meeting.
This has to be a separate meeting
We're
because it's a budget
recessing from this,
hearing, right?
yeah.
Because we're recessing from this, so we have to do this one in a separate meeting than the regular meeting, right?
I believe we already have something at 5:45, the teen or student advisory
Yes.
at 5:45 on next Wednesday.
This will have a completely different roll call than the regular meeting will, so this needs to be a continuation, and then you come back from the recess of this meeting. Then we can go into the school committee meeting by finally adjourning from the budget hearing or recessing again.
If you think we can get through this.
So we have a public notice that's been published in the Lowell Sun and elsewhere, and that had to be done ahead of time. I don't know if we have, Ms. Sheehan, if you're aware, are we within time to change the date, or not to change the date, but to change the starting time?
So what if we made a motion to cancel the school committee meeting of next week and did the budget instead?
You could choose to do that.
Motion by Member Del Rossi to cancel the regular school committee meeting next week, seconded by Ms. McFadden. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. Bahu?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Ultimately, that means we're not having a school committee meeting for 3 weeks. Is there anything pressing going on? We haven't approved the school calendar. We have approved the school.
We can always make a motion to set the school committee meeting for the following week in between, if that's the wish of the body when we meet on the budget.
Great idea. Mr. Bahu will be on vacation. I'll just go yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
May I get you?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
Just a quick question, 5 o'clock or 6:30?
We can do 6 o'clock if you'd like.
Okay, I will
6:30?
guess, but we have to.
Was it already
decide
happened?
what
We already
time.
have something at 5:45.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Lowell High.
So 6:30, yes, it'd be 6:30.
All right,
Is that yes on this, Mr.
that's a
Lay?
yes, yes. Yes,
Okay, now I need a motion to recess until next Wednesday at 6:30 by Ms. McFadden, seconded by Ms. Del Rossi. Roll call.
Ms. Martin? Ms. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yahoo!
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi? May I get you?
Yes.
Mr. Lay?
yes.
Meeting's recessed.
Thank you.